being in firefights is one thing, like being in that is completely different. Like just helpless.
So he's whispering to my right hand side, I'm like, in Arabic. So I slowly like, turn, and I'm like that. And we had night vision goggles on, like to the two other guys, I'm like that. Like thumbs down, like enemy, like there.
Mm-hmm. I shot him from the stairwell and essentially in the top of his head, and then he just Supermaned down the stairs.
How did you get connected with DJ?
So, around 2020, I was given, in my opinion, the best job in the British Army. I was given the job of being the lead instructor, chief instructor of the CQB cell. I'd never been an instructor before in that situation. I'd been a JTAC instructor before, and I know how to teach and connect with people, and I love that human connection. But when they offered me that, to me, that's the pinnacle. Teaching regiment guys, or helping regiment guys improve their shooting, making sure the doctrine, the CQB is good, making sure that we're not drifting off course, making sure that we're not, adopting fads from YouTube and the internet, and making sure that we're maintaining the standard that's been set by the guys that went before us and the hard lessons learned through combat. I mean, we lost a lot of guys, there's that GWAT generation learned a lot of fucking hard lessons. And I think it's only right, if you become an instructor in one of those roles, that you're the custodian of that information. So I took that job extremely seriously. But like I said before, you don't go to CQB instructor school. They just picked me out of the squadron because I, fairly high standard, personal standard, and was apparently quite competent at it and could engage with people and had enough experience to be able to give that information to people. So I was kind of looking around on like, where else do you find information open source? So I was looking at YouTube, I was watching all kinds of stuff, trying to find drills, equipment, just little, them 1% that you can try and make incremental improvement. And I like kit, dude. I love my kit. To me, it's important. Like I judge a guy on how his kit is, Mm-hmm. So I'm trying all these different types of belts. I'm like buying this belt and that belt, and I tried all of them, and some of them are good, some of that. And I stumbled across GBRS. It was actually DJ setting up a weapon, and it was like, damn, that's how I set my weapon up. And how he explained it, I was like, yep, that works. That's exactly how I would do that. So I became interested in them. Anyway, I ordered something, and I messed it up. I got the wrong size or whatever, and I sent an email back saying, is it possible before you ship it to the UK, can you just change the size or whatever? Cole ripped me back straight away within minutes. So we had a bit of correspondence there. And I just reached out to him and I said, listen, mate, like, it's so cool. And, it gasses me up to see guys from the squadron that have left the squadron that are doing something different, that aren't just going to work in the Middle East and security or this or that, or the usual part. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to degrade that, but I didn't want to do that. To see other people out there doing something different, doing something unique. So I just hit him up and said, thank you. And I told him, I said, there's guys in our squadron that are running your equipment, both domestically and overseas. And he's told me a bunch of times, but that's the why. That's why they do that. That's why we do what we do. It's because we want to try and help guys that are still in a fight. We're not in a fight anymore. I'm not in a fight. I'll probably never be in a gunfight ever again in my life, but it doesn't mean I'm going to turn my back on it. I still want to give back. So that's kind of where they were at. And I just recognized it and I acknowledged it. I sent them a squadron plaque. I didn't put a name on it or anything. And we just carried on talking. Then I deployed, blah, 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 blah. A couple of years later, after my last deployment, I was kind of in this weird situation, weird headspace. I don't really know what I wanted to do. I don't really feel like I wanted to stay. I didn't really know if I was going to leave. Like, I don't have many transferable skills, Shawn. People talk about all this, oh yeah, it sets you up for this and that. It's like, there's not many jobs in civilian street that require a good breacher or a good lead jumper or somebody that can do a good bill drill. Do you understand what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
So I felt reinvent the wheel, but it was like, the only thing I've got is the shirt on my back and the skill in my hands. That's all I've got, and that's all I've ever had. I don't come from a lot, and I've worked very hard to build my skill set and try and improve my own personal ability. And it felt like a good idea, or the only idea for want of a better word, to try and use those skills in the civilian market, or in this, to try and train people. Basically, that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how to go about it. It's a very confusing period for me. I was like, head was all over the place. And then through a mutual friend, Chris Craighead, the boys, DJ and Cole, were in Hereford visiting one of their distributors. And they'd already met a bunch of times anyway, so they were already familiar with each other. And at first I was like, I don't want to just go and meet these guys and turn up like some sort of fanboy and be like, hi, thanks for the t-shirt. So I was like, at first I said no. And then he was like, come on, just come and meet them. And I treat them and that exactly how I'm treating this. Just meeting 2 guys in the squadron. And as soon as we sat down in Hereford, we went for a cheeseburger or whatever it was. Me, Christian Craighead, DJ Cole, and a guy called Baz, we sat down and straight away we connected. It was just like that. It was like we were already on that sort of, that wavelength, so to speak. And me and DJ got into it about CQB. Me and Cole were talking about this and we're talking about that. And, it just felt good. And we sort of wandered around the town for a bit, had a coffee. And I think it was DJ actually said to me, he's like, so what's your plans now? And I was like, well, I'm at a bit of a crossroads. I've invested everything. This is all I've got. I don't have anything else. Like, this is it. But I'm at a point now where I'm having to walk away from it, or, considering walking away from it. He's like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I want to teach people. I want to continue instruction. I want to continue passing on the knowledge, the hard fought lessons that I've had personally and watched other people do. So he was like, well, if you ever want to come over to Virginia Beach and hang out with us, then, here's my number. Let's make it happen. And I kind of sat on it for a little while. I didn't have an Instagram account. I didn't have a social presence. Like, all that was a big no-no to me. So this is a massive departure from my normality. I'd lived in Hereford for 12 years. Same house. I don't know anything other than that, the squadron, the life. So to break from that needs to be something pretty solid. I've got courage, and I like to think I'm pretty bold when it comes to making decisions. But this was a different ball game. This was not like an operational thing. This wasn't like a tactical problem that needed to be solved. I don't know the solution for this. It's not like problem, solution. It's like, this is a departure from my normality. But I did feel a level of connection and trust straight away. So fast forward a few months, I hit him up. I was like, okay, DJ, I feel like coming over to Virginia Beach. Is that still cool? And he's like, absolutely. He's like, whenever you want, here's some dates, come over. So I booked a plane ticket, booked a hotel, hire car, turned up in Virginia Beach with some clothes and a set of ear defenders and a range belt, basically. And got to the hotel late in the evening, messaged DJ. He was like, cool, do you want to do fitness in the morning? I was like, yes, sir. He goes, cool, I'm in from 5. We'll train at 7. I was like, cool. Turned up at 5:30, pitch black, Virginia Beach. I'm a long way from home at this point. See, DJ comes walking down the stairs, gives me a big hug. He's like, welcome to the building, shows me around. We sit upstairs, we have coffee. We go work out for a little bit. And they were like, let's go to the range. And I think, like, as far as an interview goes, I think it was done at the 7 meter point on a flat range. I think that was pretty much, it's easy to talk the talk, but you need to be able to walk the walk. And as soon as they could see that I could, shoot to a fairly high, A standard, they're like, yeah, this could be a thing for you. And they offered me everything that I could ever ask for. Basically, it was the perfect transition. Still shoot guns, still teach, still mess with parachuting, still be around team guys. Like, when I walk in that building, it feels no different, from walking into the ready room. It's the same conversations, the same bullshit jokes, the same shit talking, the same feeling,
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. That was my biggest fear when I left the military. It's like, when you leave the military, you don't just leave the job and the role, you leave your physical and emotional infrastructure. Physical infrastructure being like, you need a dentist appointment, you go and see the dentist. You need to go and see the doctor, you go to the doctor. The gym's over there. I need a new jacket, stores is over there. All that goes away when you leave the military, and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, like, how do I get a fucking doctor's appointment? Like, all like normal problems that normal people deal with, I've never had to do any of it. So I'm like, 35, 36 at the time, and I feel like a teenager again, trying to work out how to do basic stuff, So
let alone making a living.
Let alone let alone make a living and, provide a future for a young daughter. I want to give her more than I got, So it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stress. You lose the when you walk out of that building, you don't just lose that job. You lose your emotional infrastructure. My teammates, like, that train moves so fucking fast, dude. You know what it's like. Like, you're out the WhatsApp group. You're out the, there's no information coming on. No one's telling me where I have to be or what I have to do or what's coming on next. I'm on my own now. And yeah, it's scary as fuck. It's the most scariest thing I've ever done. And DJ said it to me, he goes, transitioning out of the military is the hardest thing you'll ever do. And I was like, nah, it's all right. I've dealt with way worse than that. Legit, like, no shit, it's the hardest fucking thing I've ever done. Like, emotionally.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, but in a positive way. Zero loom. There wasn't an ounce of moonlight out, nothing. And for the guys that don't run around with night vision, those things aren't perfect. They're not, man. You don't have any ambient light out there. Like, they don't work very well. They just don't. So we were going back to the exact same spot, 2 houses down from where that thing happened. So we called it the Karma House. Like, bad karma, here we go. And we were going to land on the X. Going to blow the front door and take this thing down hard. That's what we did back then. So flying helos right to the front door, and this is what we're doing. And we knew from past experiences exactly what kind of resistance we were going to meet, and we planned for the worst. Like, I went in on that thing completely knowing in that first room I was going to get shot.
Damn.
Like, they had belt feds, they had suicide vests, like, these guys are committed for sure. If we go in right now, like, that first room is going to be sketchy. And we landed on the X and we ran through that thing like we've done a million other times, and there was no one there. Dry hole. And then we get an update that all those guys had left and had ran out the back. And now they're in adjacent, essentially a cornfield. But if you imagine an endless field of nothing, just a plowed field. And then right in the middle of it is about 500 yards of 6 foot tall, I don't even know what you'd call it. It's like straw, but it's not. I mean, you can't see anything. And they're trying to walk us down on top of this guy. So we all switch over. It's probably 6 or 7 of us. And we all get online and we were all starting to walk down. We've all switched over to fires and we're listening. And 2 of the new guys and 1 of the EOD guys had not switched over to fires. We literally interlocked arms. That's how bad it was. You couldn't see shit. We couldn't lose anybody inside there. We'd never walked through the palm groves before. We didn't have a dog. We didn't have the experience. And looking back on it is one of the most dangerous things I've ever done. Because you knew the guy in there had a gun. Like, for sure. You knew that they run around with S-Vest and you know they're committed. So now we are walking on there. So if you imagine just a big open field with a big sparkle in the center of it, and we're going to walk towards it. And we're going to walk until we find this guy. Okay. So we do. Completely committed, interlocked arms, and we are walking forward and we're getting the updates. 15 feet. 10 feet. You're standing on him. And you see everybody looking down like, he's not here. 3rd person from the right, you are standing on him. And we all look over to the right, nothing. Like, what the fuck? So we're all on a line, standing right there. And Jay calls an audible. He's like, whole maneuver element, take a right-hand turn, because we know there's an open field. We just have to cross, and now it's completely open. Now we can regather our shit, and we can assault from this side. By walking through all this crazy brush, we can approach it from the open side and just walk in the brush a little bit, maybe call him out, do something else. And when we turn right, this element stayed. They didn't get the word. So now we have a bad guy, our element, and then another element. Now we're in a Polish ambush. We turn, we walk out, and we enter this beautiful manicured open field. There's not an ounce of cover anywhere in it. There's not a rut. There's nothing. There's not a rock. There's a single tire, and it's about 20 feet, 30 feet from the edge of the brush line. It's just out there, and we're standing there, and a team guy gaggle, standing around like wondering, what the fuck? Is this guy really there? Is it a dog? Is it some animal? Like, these guys are clearly lost. And we don't realize that that bad guy is in there, probably 6 feet inside, and he's looking at us. And we're from the middle of the wall, and we're close. We're having a full-on conversation, and at one point, we're trying to relay to the other guys, because now we know we've lost 3. Now they're lost in brush country, and we have to reconsolidate them so we can deal with this guy. Because now we know the reality. We've turned the entire profile. Blue forces, bad guy, blue forces. We've got all the rest of the guys over here on the west side. And now we're trying to do a link up. Like, we have to get them around to reconsolidate with us. The blue force picture and knowing where everybody is it's challenging at times, but you really have to know then. We basically walked right up to the edge. It's, Jay's there, our corpsman, our terp, the JTAC, and a guy we'll just call Matty is standing there with me. And we're all in kind of a team guy gaggle. And Jay hears something in the bushes, and I think he believed at the time it was the guys. And he screamed out, "Hey." And when he did, that dude let off the biggest Hollywood belt-fed burst I've ever heard.
Oh,
and
shit.
Everybody dropped. It was like, we used to do the new guy scenarios. You know, you're doing land warfare, the first contact and all the head shed dies, and now you got to drag around like, you know, playing war games. That's what it was like. Everybody hit the deck. And there was a tree probably 30 feet that way. And I remember I turned, I heard it, watched them drop, and I was sprinting so fast to that thing. I remember the dust kicking up in front of me when he was tracking me. I dove behind the tree, and he pounded on that tree for what seemed like an eternity. I was on my back looking up. I mean, you can imagine, helmet's cockeyed, there's no ambient light, I can't see shit through my nods, and there's just dirt blowing all over me. I mean, I am consumed by this. I don't even know where he's at now. I don't know if he's on his feet chasing me down, like I'm just overcome with withering fucking fire. And then it stops. And he pans back over and he starts to engage the dudes. This thing goes on for a little bit, and we're trying to reconsolidate. The JTAC has went out and he's trying to grab people now. He's behind a tire. I remember looking over and seeing Jay, and I remember him sitting upright, and I watched him get shot one more time, right in the face, and it looked like that was it. He hit the ground so hard, you knew he was dead. So there's an audible that has to be made. We have the JTAC, and behind this tractor tire, that I mean, it's a tractor tire. It's not big. It's about that high off the ground, serves no purpose, and he's behind it, and I'm directly adjacent from him looking at him. Like, I have an out this way. We can't because we have all these dudes that are shot up. And I remember it was like the scene from Black Hawk Down. Come to me. Fuck you, come to me. Ready? Yep. And I got up and I ran as fast as I could, and I dove like a baseball slider in behind that thing. And it was such a sigh of relief to feel another human next to me. I was so thankful that he was there. And now we have to figure out how to get out there and bring those people back here. And this whole thing's happening very, very fast. So Jay's been shot multiple times. He's discombobulated, he's talking, and this guy's still trying to shoot him, but he can't see shit because it's black. So if you're quiet, he can't hear you. The bravest thing I have ever seen in 17 years happened on that night. I watched Matty get up and run forward after he'd already been shot and grab our corpsman and is dragging him backwards. Just like out in the movies. Corpsman pulls out his pistol and is shooting into this bush line. And Matty gets shot again. Boom! Spins him around and dumps him. He gets back up, grabs him and gets shot again. Dumps him and he gets back up and continued to drag him back until we got them all back to the tractor tire. You know, we're all pulling them in there and we basically just dogpiled on them. Just plates on plates. Just trying to build up a human wall to not let these people be shot again. And he's still shooting at us the entire time. He hasn't let up. He just doesn't know where we're at now. So if we can keep everybody quiet, we've got hands over mouths, like people are screaming. We had, the corpsman got shot through tib fib, shattered his leg. Matty got shot through the brachial artery, hit his humerus and shattered that, and it flipped over the back of his neck. And I remember, because we talked about it later and it made sense, he looked very confused at one point, in between dragging the corpsman back, and he said he was looking for his arm. When it broke, it snapped and went over his neck, and he looked down and just saw this. Couldn't see it. I mean, there's no moonlight, you can't see anything. You can't see under nods right there, it's just gone. You look down and there's a stump there. So he doesn't know. He's been shot in the leg. Jay's been shot in the leg and the side plates. I think he took a double stack to the elbow, so it blew out his entire arm. And then he took one to the face that basically removed his jaw, removed his nose, and you could look inside him. It was as bad as it could have been. So we get them back and we go into TCCC mode. Tourniquets on there, we're packing wounds, we're doing that, and thank God for that course. I don't know where we'd be without that. The live tissue training and all that. That was, I was so prepared for that. We were in and out of that blowout kit so fast. And I joke with Maddie about it. He was, I put the tourniquet on him, he was begging for me to stop. I was like, two more turns. Finally got the blood to stop. I mean, I had my fingers inside his arm, feeling out that thing. The medics working on Jay and the corpsman, putting on tourniquets, pressure dressings, all that. And I remember having a distinct conversation with Maddie. He's begging me for quick clot. He's like, quick clot, over and over and over. I remember from talking to the surgeons during the training, he's like, if you dump quick clot in there, the only way to remove it is to cut it out. And it's inside of his bicep. And I mean, to me, I have the bleeding stopped. I have it under control. And I'm not pouring quick clot in you because they're going to have to cut it out of you. Like, I'm saving you. You're not dying here. Like, you don't need that quick clot. We had a bunch of hemostatic dressings. Like, I'm packing this thing. It's fine. And he wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. So I told him, yeah, and I grabbed a thing of quick clot. And I mean, this is underneath a tractor tire where rounds are coming over. I was like, I've got it. And I pretended like I did it, and I went like that. And he's like, thank you so much. So yeah, you never got quick clot. So the next thing, we have tourniquets on them. We are talking about what we're going to do now, and he is still engaging. And the JTAC J starts prepping a fire mission, and it's close. It's the closest, at that point, is the closest fire mission to coalition forces the entire war.
No shit.
Yeah, 40.
Estimate.
10 meters, 15 meters.
10 fucking meters?
I mean, close enough to where you could take a grenade and throw it.
Holy shit.
I mean, like, it was... And they started walking him in. By this time, the other element we had maneuvered away. Nobody was firing because we didn't have a picture. We didn't know where this dude was coming from. We didn't know where our forces were. And we thought that if we were to engage this guy, we would have hit our own blue forces. So there was a big lull in the fire, and we were basically just being withered. Like we were just getting chewed up. I mean, strobes are getting shot off helmets, like it's in there. And they're everywhere but hitting human beings. So we've essentially taken the tractor and we've stacked up plates in between them on our sides, and now we're just working on people. We're laying on top of people, doing whatever we can. And Jay's prepping for a fire mission, and he's asking for 25 mic and 40 mic, and basically to start walking it in. And I remember a distinct conversation. They said no. They said it's too close. And he said, we're gonna fucking die anyway. Juliet Alpha, send it. Gave his initials, and they started dropping it, and you could feel it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. You could feel the vibrations start to get closer and closer and start to bounce you off the ground a little bit, and it kept coming. And then they started going tally on target. And I mean, you could hear that dude, the impacts. You'd hear him smack. You could hear him screaming, and it was very satisfying. Like, just let him go. Like, let him go. Like, we're not walking back up that tree line again. Let that dude die. We called in for a medevac. They landed right on the X, right there where we were. We loaded him on there, and I jumped in. The corpsman had already been shot, so we had him, Maddie, and Jay Redmond. And we talk about the typical team guy shit sometimes about, if this happens, just put me out of my misery. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I get hit by an IED and it blows my dick off, just finish me. Like, people say that shit.
Yeah.
That would have been one of the times. If my face looks like this, put me down. And he was the most coherent, the most calm dude I have ever seen. Sitting upright, leaning forward, letting shit pour out of his face so he could breathe. And he didn't say much, man. I don't know if the shock hit him. I don't think he knew how bad it really was. So I'm working on Matty and the helo. We're kind of doing the whole comb thing, running down his fingers. We're finding bullet holes. We're trying to patch all this stuff up, and we get him back. Those helo pilots flew that bird so fast. I thought they were going to suck us out of the bird. Like, we had to shut the doors. I've never been in a 60 that flew that fast, ever. I mean, to this day. That thing was in a full attack mode the entire way back. It was the fastest shit I've ever been in. And thank God for it. Some of the stuff you don't think about, like the tourniquets slipping. Like, now the compartment syndrome sets in, all the blood's getting pushed out, now it gets loose. Now he starts blowing blood all out of it. Like, it's in my mouth, it's all over me, like I'm covered in it head to toe. Like, it looks like a scene out of Black Hawk Down in the back of that helo. Like, there's just med kits everywhere and just people laid out. It's like another dose of reality. You know, team guys do get shot, and if you're not trained to handle that situation, you won't rise to that. Like, if I wouldn't have been through TCCC, if all those dudes wouldn't have played out that exact scenario hundreds of times in training, I don't know what would have happened. Like, it's a testament to how good those dudes were prepared. That JTAC, the balls he had to drop that, the confidence he had in that AC-130 crew. Like, if you miss that thing, like your first round for windage, it was so close it could have killed us. It's like, that's the confidence. It was humbling, man, to get back from that thing. I remember we dropped those guys off. I wasn't there for the rest of the target. What happened after that? I was probably gone for an extra 2 hours, and I came back from the debrief, and I walked in, and you know, I'm an emotional fucking wreck. I would have sworn that Matt was going to die for sure. Like, Jerry looked like he was dead. I never thought he'd make it. I mean, just the way his face looked, like, it looked so bad. But outside of his arm, no real life-threatening injuries, outside of a shit ton of cosmetic stuff. I mean, it's a really lucky way to get shot. Matty was a different animal. He got a bad infection. External fixators, you know, just all over the place in the hospital. A very surreal moment, especially for that deployment. Just, that's how we're going to end this whole thing. It's a somber way to go home on that deployment. And I never really got to process it. I didn't have time. Just the whole reality of what had happened, kind of what we've been through, you know, together as a group. Being in firefights is one thing. Like, being in that is completely different. Like, just helpless. I couldn't shoot back. I couldn't do anything. I could just lay there and put my plates in front of that guy and hope he shoots me and not you. I can give you a tourniquet. Outside of that, man, outside of moral support, like, we're all just in this together. And I would have bet anything. There's no way we would have walked away from that. I thought we were dead after the initial contact. It was so close. It was so violent. And I think it was kind of that, not lackadaisical attitude, because we were definitely wired tight for that, but it's not reality until it's reality. Like, that's not going to happen. Yes, it is. Whether you want it to or not, it's happening right now. So, yeah, a lot of good lessons learned from that. A lot of stuff that I carry with me my entire life, even in training. Because, you know, a lot of guys will put on this Hollywood show during training. They'll run out there and they'll, like, try to save the princess or some kind of crazy shit. No, sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to get up and you have to say, cover me, and you have to go out and do that. And sometimes you have to call in danger close fire missions. Sometimes you have to run out there being shot already and drag back a dude to save his life. Like, there's no argument with that. That's the most heroic shit I have ever seen. Ever. I mean, to this day. Like, if I had one defining moment where I stood back and I was just starstruck, that's it. Like if I had to capture a 30-second clip of, you want to be a Navy SEAL? Why do you want to be one? Because people will do this for me. That'd be it. That'd be Jay calling a fire mission, Matty run out there, grab him back to corpsman, dragging him back. It was a badass move.
Who were you working with from the Army?
So we had a Ranger element with us. We had the Tier 1 personality there. 2-2 SAS was in the same compound. So it It was so funny, man. The SAS, I fucking love those dudes. They'd roll through the chow hall and they've all got American flag patches on. I'm like, what's up with the patch? And he's like, got to blame it on somebody. Fucking assholes. Like, okay, cool. Those guys were great, man. Just, I remember seeing them. You see all the unit guys, you see the SAS guys. I mean, I'm a kid, and they look like they're 7 foot tall. Like, they look like Marcus Cabone. Like, they look enormous. They've all got huge beards and long hair, and like, holy shit. That's what the pros look like.
And people go, oh, you're lucky you got a job at GBRS. And I'll say, yes and no. It offends me when people say you're lucky. It's not luck. It's the fucking years of hard work I put on a flat range or in the CQB house or, you know, whatever it might be, perfecting my craft. Like, you can ask anybody about me. They might say a whole bunch of stuff, but one thing they won't say is that I didn't pay into the job. That skill set, those hard skills, were the most important thing in my life for the best part of a decade. And I worked fucking hard to get as good as I could. So to have somebody recognize that and go, yeah, that's not luck. Like, and that's not to sound arrogant, but it's like, you ask Christian, we spent days, weeks, months of our lives in the freezing cold rain, shitty ranges, just banging away, trying to get better at our job, you know, just perfecting the basics, the skills, the fundamental aspects of marksmanship. And then teaching each other, showing each other new tricks, or not tricks, but, you know, like, you know, I've seen this, what do you think about that? You know, just cross-referencing information and just trying to improve ourselves, you know. I wanted to be the best version, the best operator that I could be. And I spent years trying to do that. And then somebody recognized it and was like, this is the spot for you. So I felt very, very, you know, blessed. But it's not luck, Shawn, and it kind of winds me up when people are like, oh yeah, it's all right for you, you got a job at GBRS. It's like, I fucking earned that job. You understand?
For this mission, it was like, there's 4,000 Iraqi troops in this armored division.
4,000. You guys are
And it's me.
conducting surveillance.
Six-man team, no air support. And we sort of knew we were going to come into contact with the enemy. And like before we left, we stripped down our weapons, cleaned the magazines, everything, because it was like a given. People were very envious that we were going to do it because we knew. So we set off on foot. And the going is so bad, like really bad. So I again have to make a command decision, but I'm going to run it through these two guys who I hold in the highest regard. So I'm going to look, if we continue to go on this course, we're not going to get there in time. And worst case, we'll be trapped in the daylight in the open. I said, so what I suggest is we get onto this track. You know the rules, we don't walk on tracks, but we get on this track, move down the track at pace up until there was a set of power lines crossing it. I said that we'll use that power lines as a mark, and then get off the track and then move towards the armored division. You're happy with that? Because it's moving on track, and I know, but I think it's the best idea. And they're like, absolutely, it's the best call. So get on the track. I'm number one. Larry with the minimize is number two, and Paddy at the back with the sniper rifle. And then we're moving down the track. As we're approaching, there's on the right hand side of this track, there's a berm about 6 feet high, all the way down, as you see in the Middle East a lot. And moving down the track, and I see the power lines, and just as about to break off the power lines to go off us, my day sack with my packing's aching my arms, and I stop to adjust it. And as I stop, I hear whispering to my right hand side. I'm like, so I hear whispering to my right hand side. I'm like, in Arabic. So I slowly turn, and I'm like that. And we had night vision goggles on, like to the two other guys. I'm like that, like thumbs down, like enemy, like there. Mm-hmm. And then Larry's like stops, pausing, like silently swings straight away to cover. And the distance is we're about 8 yards apart.
That's it.
From each of the three of us. So there's like 8 yards to me, Larry, and then about 8 yards back to Paddy. But the berm is about from me to you away, and the whispering's on the other side of it. So I'm like, and I'm like to Larry and Paddy, and they slowly walk up. And then as he gets, I'm like, there's whispering off the other side of the berm, like. Because it's this thing on the message was like, you can't engage the enemy unless you're getting engaged or like thing. And I'm like, and all of a sudden, I don't know if it's because of the movement, the whispering, someone stands up behind the berm. Instantly, I reach up, lean up, and take a shot. One shot, and my weapon jams. Then I go into trance state. I don't freeze out. I'm like, boom. He goes down, but my weapon stopped. Don't know why. I just run straight down to my vocal pocket, pull out a high explosive grenade, run over the berm. Sorry, I'm missing a bit out. Before the as they close up, I then silently go to the berm and look over the top with my night vision goggles on, and I can see around about 8 to 12 Iraqi soldiers all in a huddle talking to each other and stuff. So I think where the power lines was, it was like they were using that as like we were, as a marker, and it was like a standing patrol or a sentry position. Then I close down, and then I say 8 to 12 Iraqi army soldiers behind the berm. And I don't know if it's because they heard the movement or they heard my voice. And then guy stands up, take the shot, he goes down.
So you killed him?
I don't know. I don't know if I hit him. Well, I probably hit him, but I don't know if I killed him. It was one shot with,
Gotcha.
with NATO ammo. But he goes down. I then run up with the high explosive grenade and throw it down into all the Iraqis. That detonates, and there's a bit of a scream, and there's still threat to life, and they're all there. And I run and I pull out my brown power pistol, and I shoot 5 of them. So it's like a chaos drill. And onto my left-hand side, Larry's there. He's making music with his M249. He's dealing with threats, and then Paddy with a sniper rifle. He's then throwing hand grenades to potential depth position.
Wow.
And so this is my first experience of using lethal force, and there's a lot of takeaway points from this. So then I'm like, okay, let's go, and I'm like, let's go. I quickly clear that stoppage. What I think had happened is the cocking handle on a SA moves back and forth, and when I fired that first round, it caught on my loose black jacket, and then so all threats have been neutralized. Like I say, they all recognized straight away. Firstly, when we set up, and then when we took the shot and went over the top and the detonators, they were still, what high explosive grenades like. It's not like the movies where everyone gets blown. It's like all of a stung, but people were there, weapons, threat to life. We were in the middle of it. We're a war. So then I engaged 5 of them, and take them down, and then, like I said, all the other things go on. I then say, right, let's go. You 2 move back, and I'll cover. So we then do the one. I'm like holding it. They're running back, moving back. I fired a 40mm grenade just beyond the position, just to deter any sort of follow up. And then I say, right, get on the road and let's fucking go. So we did a couple of bounds, and then it was turn and then run. And to all these doubters in the military who say, when you do combat fitness tests and you got your gear and you've got to run fast for 2 miles, it's for things like this. And we're running. And we run to the emergency extraction point, or the emergency rendezvous. Get there. Paddy then sets up his sniper rifle. So looking down, we're hoping there's going to be a follow-up. And but then I'm on the radio, send a contact report, asking for the sponsor patrol to come and pick us up. And then we're waiting in the dock. And it's funny because Larry's like cursing to himself quietly under his mouth, going, why the fuck aren't they coming? He's like, and that's it, we're all angry that they're not following us. Why aren't they trying to attack us? Why aren't they coming after us? Because it's that mindset. We want this armored division. There's this strange mentality. We want the armored division to mobilize and come at us. And so eventually the sponsor patrol gets here and we get extracted out. And then all the way back to headquarters, get there for first. And obviously it's talk of the town because people are saying, oh, they've had close quarter engagement.
Yeah.
And it's all good. And we get ready to go in the next night. So it's mission kind of failure because we got compromised. But they say we're happy to go in the next night to establish a And this time, the next night, we'd go in and put an observation post in. We'd still do the CTR, but then do the observation post. But the takeaway point was like, so like preparation. The reactions that I did, and same as Paddy and Larry, they were critical because we kind of knew we were going to get into a fight. The odds are it was like almost certain, and everyone knew that. Brigade headquarters, everyone knew that. So we were keyed in to that. I often think if that had been a routine patrol and we'd stumbled across the enemy in such a way, would we have reacted? Would we have been so keyed up? And it's the good point is what I'm saying to anyone who carries a gun, whether it be law enforcement, military, or civilians. Do you think you're going to kill someone today? And they're like, a lot of the time, I'm saying no. I'm saying, why not? You're carrying a gun. Someone thinks that you're such a threat that you need to carry a gun, or you think you're a threat that you need to carry a gun. So you really should be thinking you're going to have to use lethal force today. Otherwise, why are you carrying it? To me, it seems illogical. But again, what's that's around? It's not doesn't sound like a psychopath. It's like have your head in the game.
Yeah.
Earlier to something I said earlier about seeing the signs, knowing, and like anyone who pulls a trigger with a surprised look on their face, it never usually ends well. So it's that whole thing. You see it coming, you see the signs, you get prepared, you get your head in the game, and this could be taking place over milliseconds. But that's the good point of that.
I got to theatre and they were like, you're going to go and be the L&O with the unit. So I was back with the unit for another 4 months, which I was fucking happy about. A little bit with A Squadron and then with B Squadron, with Kyle Morgan, actually. We shared a team. We were in the same team.
So I was on the 60s, and my team fast roped to the rooftop. It's 3 stories, but the third story was a cupola with a stairwell that went down the center. So think 4 condos, apartments. So 2 on the top floor and then 2 on the bottom. We cycled in, so the 4 little birds went into the ground on the street with the other troop to flood the bottom floor, and then we roped into the roof and flooded. But we timed it to where their charges, we knew their charges were going to go off before we could get ours on. And when that happened, it blew our breaches open. So, and I'm coming down the stairwell in the cupola, and my 2 ICs up front, and it's a stairwell that, landing and then coming back down. And I see this guy, a shadowy figure kind of I could see I was on the halfway down on the stairs, and I could see into the apartment after the door blew open. And, the breaches are right behind the 2 ICs, and they're like, oh fuck, they're sticking the charges on the wall to get out, to put them up to get their hands back on the rifle. And this dude comes flying in or out, and maybe he got within 2 feet of my mate, and he was hiding behind this female, and I could just see it, he's running out with the pistol and to her head, and he had no idea we were right there. And before it became more of a thing, I was able to see that, even just a snapshot of, I'm talking 3 or 4 feet of depth into the room they came from. I was able to key off that, and then I shot him from the stairwell and essentially in the top of his head, and then he just Supermaned down the stairs, and she kept running. Before that became, he made it it would have been from
Me to you.
me closer than that to my teammates.
Holy shit.
It was a really tight shot, period. Between her head, his head, and then my mate, off his rifle, under nods. So, man, that was just oh, this is how this is going to start, And then we just kept going. And, there was moments where dudes, and this is why when I teach people, because I learned this lesson, and my mates did. Like, if I take one of my hands off my rifle, I'm going to transition to my pistol to do whatever it is I need to do, lift something up. Because downstairs, they got into a situation where they open a closet door and there's a chick that jumps out or whatever. And behind one of my mates goes to grab the female off of, out of there. And then an AK gets shoved in his face, and he like grabs the barrel, and the dude just starts racking rounds off like next to his head. And he's just controlling the muzzle with his own hands now. He's in a wrestling match now.
Yeah.
And now my other mate had to like get into a position to like take a shot on this cat. And that's to me, and it's the same way with like ladders. Like they've shot someone on a roof from popping up where ISR said the roof was clear, and they're hiding under layers of shit, man. Then you get a gun shoved in your face. You're like, well, at least I have my red dot sight looking through my nods as I'm coming up on a ladder rung. But it's it's something that I talk about, and it's founded in like real world experience on why, with like rifles aren't meant to be shot with one hand. Like I'm strong, and there's plenty of strong people out there, but that's not the way that they're meant to cycle and to function, and damn sure not shoot accurately or surgically. So for me, it's like, but I can do that with my pistol in one hand if I need to. So transition.
How did the op end?
Man, we got like, it was, the DAPs barely made it back. The close airs are they got shot through the refueling boom, and like they barely were able to fly those things back. Like,
Wow.
It was we fucked them up, like period. And anyone that was still alive, that was ISIS, the leadership came in and executed them for not dying with their commanders. But it allowed us to look into, holy shit, they're moving tons of money on the black market, the oil, and the web of like how serious like it was becoming, and how much it could have been like our reality at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that led to, between the intelligence we got then to capturing his wife and them interrogating her, the Kurds, to pinpointing al-Baghdadi, where we were able to go over and kill him. And
All stemmed from that op. Mm-hmm. It's fucking amazing. No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.